Your dog is watching you right now, and it knows something is wrong before you do. You walk through the door after a bad day. You haven't said a word. You haven't sighed. You haven't slumped. You've barely stepped inside. And the dog is already up, already reading you, already adjusting. It saw the tightness in your face. It heard something in the sound of your keys. Somewhere in that small skull, a decision has already been made about you tonight, and the dog made it faster than you could hide it. We like to think we're the ones watching. We film animals with long lenses. We tag them, track them, name them in documentaries. We assume the observing goes one direction, us looking down at them. But step outside and look at almost any animal that lives near us, and it's looking back. And the question moving behind that eye isn't the one you'd expect. It isn't, what is that? It's, which one is that? That distinction is the whole story, and it changes what you are every single time you walk past a wild animal. Here's the assumption almost everyone makes. We think animals see humans the way we see weather, one big, undifferentiated category. Human, the way you'd think rain or wind. A deer runs from people. A pigeon scatters from people. Surely, we think, they can't tell us apart. But that assumption falls apart the moment you look closely. Because for animals living near us, treating human as one single category would be a fatal mistake. Think about it from their side. A hawk is almost always a threat. A snake is almost always a threat. But a human? One human fills a bird feeder every morning. Another throws a rock. One leaves food scraps behind a restaurant. Another tears down the nest in the gutter. We are, from an animal's point of view, the single most unpredictable animal on the planet. Danger and generosity wearing the exact same face. So if you're an animal living in our world, human is too broad to survive on. You don't need to know what we are. You need to know which of us is which. And a surprising number of animals have solved exactly that problem. 1. The dog. Start with the animal already staring at you. Dogs don't just recognize us, they read us. In a study published in Current Biology, researchers trained dogs to tell the difference between photographs of happy and angry human faces. The dogs could do it, even on faces they'd never seen before. It was the first solid evidence that an animal could discriminate between emotional expressions in another species. Later eye-tracking work showed dogs scan our faces in a particular way, and that oxytocin, the same hormone tied to human bonding, changes how they look at us. We spent tens of thousands of years shaping dogs to live beside us, and in doing so, we built an animal that studies human emotion for a living. Your dog is not guessing at your mood. It is reading a face it has memorized, the one face in the world it watches more than any other. 2. The elephant. Now scale up, way up. Near Amboseli in Kenya, the Maasai have historically come into conflict with elephants. The Kamba, mostly farmers, are far less of a threat. Researchers from the University of Sussex played recordings of human voices to wild elephant herds and published the results in PNAS. When elephants heard an adult Maasai man's voice, they bunched together, went defensive, and moved away. When they heard a Kamba man, a woman, or a boy, they barely reacted. From voice alone, the elephants sorted ethnicity, gender, and age, and adjusted their fear to match. They weren't hearing human, they were hearing which human, and deciding whether to be afraid. 3. The horse. Stay on land, go to the stable. Researchers at Sussex and Portsmouth showed horses a photograph of a person wearing either a happy or angry expression. Hours later, that same person walked up to the horse in real life, now wearing a completely neutral face. The person didn't know which photo the horse had seen. It didn't matter. The horses that had seen the angry photo looked at that person more with their left eye, the side tied to processing threat, and behaved more warily. They remembered the emotion attached to a face and carried it into a later meeting. The study, published in Current Biology, called it a form of emotional memory once thought to belong only to humans. Smile at a horse today, and it may treat you differently tomorrow. 4. The cat. And now the animal everyone insists doesn't care. Scientists at the University of Tokyo tested whether cats could pick their owner's voice out of a lineup. They played recordings of strangers calling the cat's name, followed by the owner's voice. The cats reacted most to the owner, moving their ears and heads toward the sound. A later study confirmed cats can distinguish their own name from similar words, even when a stranger says it. Here's the twist that fits the cat perfectly. They recognize the owner clearly, they just often chose not to respond. The knowing was never the question. The caring is what they keep to themselves. 5. The pigeon. Step into any city and you'll find the bird you've been ignoring your whole life. In a Paris park, researchers ran an experiment with wild pigeons. Two people of similar build, wearing different colored coats, fed the same flock. One let the birds eat, the other chased them away. Later, both people left the pigeons alone. The pigeons never forgot. They kept their distance from the one who had chased them and stayed relaxed around the other, even when the two people swapped coats. The clothing was a trick. The birds weren't reading clothes. They were reading the individual person. You can't fool a pigeon by changing your jacket. 6. The sheep. And if you think that takes brain power, meet the animal we use as a synonym for mindless following. At the University of Cambridge, scientists trained sheep to recognize human faces from photographs, including Emma Watson and Barack Obama. The sheep picked the correct face out of a pair, even when it was turned to a new angle. And when they were shown a photo of their own handler, someone they'd never seen in a picture before, many recognized the face with no training at all. The study put sheep face recognition in the same league as monkeys and humans. The blank stare in the field is hiding a lot more than we assumed. 7. The goat. Right beside the sheep, the goat is doing something even more surprising. It's judging your mood. Researchers, led by Queen Mary University of London, showed goats pairs of photographs of the same person. One face happy, one angry. The goats consistently moved toward the happy faces, spending more time near them, investigating them. They preferred positive human expressions. And here's why that matters. Goats were domesticated for meat and milk, not companionship like dogs. Yet they still learned to read our faces. Sorting humans by emotion isn't a rare gift of a few pets. It may be something living near us builds into animals almost automatically. 8. The pig. The same story shows up in the barnyard's smartest resident. At the Messerly Research Institute in Vienna, researchers trained pigs to tell the front of a human head from the back, using our eyes and mouth as cues, even generalizing to faces they'd never seen. Separate work on piglets goes further. They clearly distinguish their caretaker from a stranger and hold on to that difference. To a pig, you are not a farmer. You are either the one who feeds it, filed away as familiar, or a stranger it hasn't decided about yet. 9. The dolphin. Now leave the land entirely. At a marine facility, researchers tested whether bottlenose dolphins could visually pick out their own trainer. 3 of the 4 dolphins spontaneously followed the correct person above chance. But the researchers were honest. Follow-up tests suggested the dolphins may have been keying on clothing color rather than face. That makes the dolphin the mirror image of the pigeon. The pigeon you couldn't fool by swapping coats. The dolphin, maybe you could. But the instinct underneath is the same. Dolphins already label each other with signature whistles, like names. And that talent for telling individuals apart reaches across the water toward us. 10. The chimpanzee. And finally, our closest relative, where it gets almost uncomfortable. Chimpanzees recognize individual human faces and hold mental representations of specific people. Eye-tracking studies show they look longer at familiar faces. Later research even measured how their recognition of familiar humans shifted over time, and behind COVID face masks. When a chimp looks at you, it isn't just seeing a primate on the other side of the glass. It's doing something close to what you're doing. Sorting a face into someone I know or someone I don't. So what are they actually thinking about us? 10 animals. Land, farm, city, sky, and sea. Different brains, different worlds, all doing one quiet thing. Not asking what we are, asking which one. But recognition is only half of it. To sort us, an animal has to do the harder thing, attach meaning to a face. This face means food. This voice means run. This shape near the nest means danger. It isn't just recognizing you, it's remembering what you've meant. And that memory outlasts yours by a long way. A horse carries your expression into the next day. A pigeon holds onto the hand that chased it, coat or no coat. You forgot the animal you shooed off this morning before your coffee went cold. It didn't forget you. So the honest answer to what do animals think about humans isn't a grudge and it isn't a fan club. It's colder and smarter than both. They're keeping records. And the record isn't the same for everyone. Walk into a forest, and to the deer, you are a silhouette that means run. Walk past an elephant, and you are a voice already sorted into safe or dangerous. Walk through a city, and to the pigeon overhead, you are a specific file. Opened, updated, never quite deleted. Come home, and to the dog at your feet, you are the most studied face of its entire life. Read so closely it clocks your mood before you've hung up your keys. You are not one thing to them. You are thousands of separate verdicts, handed down every day by animals you never noticed judging you at all. So the next time something turns its head and fixes one eye on you, don't ask what it is. Ask what it's found. Because whatever's written in that file, food or danger or kindness or nothing at all, it isn't really about the animal. It's about you. It's the sum of every time one of them watched you when you were sure no one was. You've spent your whole life deciding what you think about animals. The harder question is the one waiting in a dark eye on a wire, in a stable, under the water, in the seat beside you. What have they decided about you?